Hi folks, welcome to the channel. I'm going to look at some more brass darts from Target today. We've already covered Rocky's darts and Dimmy's darts on previous videos, and indeed Luke's brass darts as well. Check that video out, that was last week's, so do have a look at that one. But today I wanted to take a look at the Asps. Now I've already given them a quick throw, but I thought I'd do a very quick kind of review stroke show and tell really. So here we go then. As before, we've got brass darts with a steel tip, and these ones are in 22 grams and it's a 22 piece set. So what do you get in those 22 pieces? Well, essentially you've got a wallet, which is a kind of vinyl leatherette, and we'll open this up, and inside you'll essentially see the 3 darts, which we'll come to in a minute in terms of the barrels, in a point holder. You've got 3 sets of flights, the sort of red and white and black and white, and you've got 3 sets of stems, and these are the pro grips with the black, the white and the red. And much like the other brass sets that we saw just now, these are kind of all made to a bit of a price point, and I think these ones typically are around £13 give or take. Weirdly, you can actually buy them a bit cheaper if you buy them in pairs, but I bought mine individually. But essentially you're looking at about 13 to 15 pounds thereabouts. So for that money, as I say, you get the 3 barrels, 3 sets of stems, 3 sets of flights, no dart counter or anything like that. The quality, well, doesn't feel too bad. I can just kind of report on what I know really at the moment. I used for the throwing purposes my own Target sort of Vision number 2s, and I tried number 6s as well. The ones that come with it, although they're branded Target and officially licensed, they're not quite the same. They're not the same quality. They're a bit more papery, a bit thinner than the regular Target flights. And I'd go as far as to say the same with the stems as well. They are pro grips, but the ones that come in these kits just seem a little bit different, a bit more, I don't know, a bit cheaper feeling. They're a dual kind of texture, and they don't come with the rings either. Not that that's a massive problem for a starter kit. Right, okay, enough of that then. So what you get are the barrels, as I say here, and these are, I guess, kind of featured, or at least based on Asps Gen 2s, and I've got a Gen 2 dart here as a comparison actually, so we'll take a closer look at those in a minute. But essentially you've got that same, a very similar shape. You've got a sort of, I suppose, circular ring groove pattern at the front, then a smooth section with the Target logo, and then up here we've got another not very aggressive cuts in here as well. And as I say, these are only brass, and they're kind of like silver treated or silver plated with some kind of metallic deposition, and they're slightly grippier kind of that way, like a reverse sort of shark, but to be honest there isn't a lot of grip on there. Compare that to the Gen 2 Asp and you'll see the idea is the same. You've got the red ring pattern there, and you've got the smooth section and then a grippy bit towards the back. So you can see very much on these where the inspiration comes from. Not like the littlest ones, which I always did think were more akin to the shape of the Asps, and not much like littlest straight barrels at all, but there you go, that's an aside. So anyway, I've had a throw of these, and I had a quick throw with a number 6 flight on, and they were disastrous. And I had another throw with the number 2 flight, which is basically kind of the size that what comes with the actual kit itself. And there's a few things I want to just mention about this particular set of darts, really, to be honest. And I suppose it's a bit of a mixed bag, and I'm trying not to be negative. I'm going to try and be as balanced as I can about the whole thing. I'll start by putting in a bit of a disclaimer, as it were, that these are my least favourite barrel shapes. Now, even if you're talking about some really nice quality shaggy darts or something like that, which again are a similar kind of shape, I'm not a massive fan of those either. So that's a personal preference thing with regard to well, it may actually sort of influence the throw and the score and that kind of thing. But for me, out of all of them, whether it's 80% tungsten darts that we've been looking at, the cheap brass sets, the 90% tungsten, or even the premium sets, whichever one you look at, these are my least favourite. So I just thought I'd throw that out there now. But that's not a criticism of the dart, of course. That's just a personal preference. What I did find was a bit of a criticism of the dart was that I did keep the original stems on here for the throwing purposes. Normally, regular viewers to the channel will know that I keep the original stems and flights. Now, these particular ones obviously are more expensive to get hold of on the what I would call the legit 90% tungsten ones. You know, you've got the target tag stems on there and things like that, and I always try and keep them nice and don't use them. And what I would normally do when I'm doing a little quick demo like this is actually replace the entire back end. But to be honest, the machining, in fact I'm trying to do this as I'm talking to you now, can you see? I mean the threads, is that sort of harsh? You can see the target sign turning around potentially on that. It wasn't unscrewing. It'll actually unscrew this or pull this out from the point holder before it'll actually turn. It's nasty, absolutely nasty. And essentially the machining on the barrel isn't great, and I know it was the barrel and not these stems, because when I did take some of the stems out and try to put my own in, it was starting to sort of catch and chew the thread, whether it was K-Flex ears or other regular sort of Target Pro grips or what have you. So I thought, right, all I'm going to do is very gingerly and very carefully put those back in. And so that was a disappointment from the get-go. Plus then these, they feel cheap. The actual stems don't feel very nice, and when you put the as soon as you put the flight in there, the thing always looks like it wants to snap. Just not great. And then I did weigh them, and the weird thing is there is the most insanely accurate weight on these. I weighed them intact as they are. They're not interchangeable points, they are just plain silver points there. So the point, the barrel and the stem, all three weighed exactly the same to 1/100th of a gram. Now Rachel did a video on her 32 gram Ryan Searle darts recently, and they were exact to the 1/100th of a gram as well, but it's not very often that you'll get them that accurate and that consistent. So to find such a cheap set of darts with that level of sort of consistency in the manufacturing is really quite something. So fair play to them for that. The finish looks quite nice on them, and they've got I suppose what you call more of a tungsten look. It's not a bad finish at all. They kind of look nice, and they replicate Asp's kind of general design intent and what have you, and they are consistent in their weight. Now that's all very well and good, but when I went to throw them, they were just all over the place. I couldn't throw these for, as they say, all the tea in China. They were just all over the place. I couldn't get on with them very well. I tried different stances, in fact what helped with these was to slow my throw right down and let them kind of like loft into the board rather than throwing them more of a direct path. That helped a little bit, but to be honest, no matter what I did, they were kind of going everywhere, inconsistent as anything. And even though, and I often say actually, with a lot of darts that just come with a regular silver point, yes, these Asp Gen 2s come with a Swiss point, which is changeable for anything you like, but even darts that come with non-interchangeable points, or if I'm testing them with a silver point standard, don't tend to have that much trouble. But these ones were really slippy. I was finding that they were catching, they were falling out of the board, they were bouncing out. Just something about these darts. I was having to throw them strangely as well to try and get them to kind of go where I wanted to. And again, I've got a shoulder injury from a motorcycle accident, so my anatomical kind of alignment isn't great anyway. And what I tend to do when I throw is I can't get that classic straight down the line sort of throw, as it were, and that's fine, that's what I'm used to. However, If I'm really struggling and have to go back to a kind of off-center throw for my shoulder and arm alignment, I actually have to move probably a good foot or so to the other side of the oche. And hello, oh, and the cat's just walked in, so if you can hear her kind of chirping away, as here she comes. Hello, darling. There you go. You're going to say hello to the good people of YouTube? Yeah. So what I was trying to say before all of that basically is that my throw is actually typically naturally off to an angle rather than straight onto the board, and I have to actually move across the oche to allow that to happen to get more accurate alignment. So I know if I'm struggling with a particular dart because I have to move my entire position to be able to throw it, and that was something that I very much came across with this. Now, so okay, let's just go back to basics on this, and I'm just doing this as a one take. I'm just having a chat with you guys, really giving you my genuine, candid, honest thoughts. I'm not paid by anyone or sponsored by anyone. And so what was great about them, they look like Asp darts, they have a nice finish to them, they come as a complete set, the weight is absolutely perfect on them, and that's all positive stuff. But I really struggled with consistency. They didn't fly terribly well, and I really struggled to get them to go anywhere I wanted to. That being said, I did get some tons. I did get a couple of ton 40s just now, so they're not unthrowable, and probably if you're more used to this shape or even prefer this kind of shape, then they may well be for you. So I'm trying to be as honest and kind of objective as possible. But what I would say is that as far as these ones are concerned, if you're looking for this kind of shape, unless you're a massive Asp fan, I would genuinely go for the Luke's version. Same price, similar design, similar grip pattern in many ways, just slightly more grip on the front. And they were just generally more consistent. They seemed to be much nicer to throw, and weirdly they didn't feel as cheap. Some darts feel more expensive than their price, but I have to say, to be honest, when I picked these up, these ones just feel cheap. They feel, don't want to say mutton dressed as lamb, but yeah, they kind of feel cheaper than even they were, if that makes sense. So I'm not a fan of them. I'll put it this way, after this video's finished, I'll be putting them away and not throwing them again, unless I do some strange kind of comparison with all the others or something at a later date. Do let me know, by the way, in the comments if you'd like to see that. But yeah, so the long and the short of it anyway is, if you're an Asp fan and maybe haven't got a big budget, then they might be for you. If you just fancy something different or fancy trying the shape as well, because quite often if you're new to darts, you might just want to get your hands on a cheap barrel of a particular shape to see if that's the style for you, then go for it. But I've got to be honest, the machining for the stems wasn't the best, and they were kind of catching and bouncing out, and they were inconsistent, weirdly. So I don't know what else I can say, really. It pays your money and takes your choice on this one. I would love to be a bit more conclusive. As I say, on the other ones that I featured on the channel, I've been able to kind of justify everything in a slightly more neutral fashion, as it were. These ones, it could just be that they're in the wrong hands and I can't throw them. Could be as simple as that. That being said, as I say, they weren't made to the best standards, even though the weight was perfect. If you can't confidently go in and change the setup and tune that yourself because you're scared of stripping the threads when you try and put the stems on, that's not going to help things either. But the counter argument to that, I suppose, is that if you've only got 12 or 13 pounds to spend on a set of darts, you're not going to go and spend a 10 or 15 pounds on a set of K-Flex, are you? So I don't know, round and round in circles, I guess. So yeah, so it's become more of a monologue than a review, I think, this one. But nonetheless, hope you found it interesting, because, you know, there are, for all the polished YouTube videos out there on these various darts, sometimes I think it's quite nice just to have a throw and let you know what I think of them. So that's what I've done today. So thanks very much indeed for watching. Do check out my other videos as well, and we've got plenty more coming up, so remember to subscribe. Please hit the like button and share it, and yeah, hopefully we shall see you very soon. I'll be back with more. So in the meantime, stay safe, and thanks again. Bye bye.